Speaking of Trump, and I'm actually really curious to get your take on this. I'm going to try to sound as not gay as possible. But Steve, you're as masculine of a man physically that I think anybody I know, I would not want to run into you in a dark alley having wronged someone else. Part of that kind of is how men deal with certain things. And last week, nobody was a stranger to the big blow up between Elon Musk and President Trump. Last night, in a tweet, Musk apologized. He said, "I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far." And that's after he deleted his post about the Epstein files. Trump then responded, "I'm glad he did that." So I don't know of two bigger personalities and more kind of rough and tumble guys. And they seem to be, working it out, and hopefully they can kind of come back to the table as a guy in kind of this masculine space. What do arguments look like? Because a bunch of people freaked out about this. I was kind of like, yeah, these are two heavyweights duking it out, and eventually they'll figure it out, which I think is a big component of masculinity that libs generally love to kind of ignore that part. It's just toxic and awful. No, but this is how you solve problems, and problems eventually get resolved.
Agree. And I think in today's day and age, everybody feels like they're keyboard warriors, I call it. They can make a comment and threaten somebody, not being, being threatened with hit in the face or smacked. I remember, we didn't have that back in the day. But if you made a comment to somebody that ticked them off, you might get hit in the face, punched in the face, and that was justice back then. But nowadays, people are a little bit more confident in their abilities because the keyboard warrior effect. But like you said, who knew two billionaires could beef harder than rappers? And it looks like, this could be the start of a tech billionaire redemption tour. Who knows? But I think, was it a good look overall? No. I think there could have been a better way for them to do it. And clearly, Elon got his panties in a bunch with some of the bills that were being passed and different things being talked about. And I understand, but at the end of the day, you got to be a little bit more of a man behind it. And I really think, for him to think that he's going to go against the MAGA movement, not a good move. The MAGA movement is so strong, regardless of it, if it's Trump or whatever. But everybody is so want to see America be great again, want to see America be prosperous, do all these things. If you're going to come at us as Americans, because that's our guy, you know what? That's the guy flying the plane right now. And if you're on the plane screaming, "I hope you crash the plane," we're going to kick your ass off the plane. Let's just be how it is. But at this point, we have to, the Americans, the MAGA people that are pro-America are behind Trump. And if somebody kind of against them, clearly, if it's more of a little beef, we're going to take Trump's side on this. And, I think Trump did pretty good, because I think some of the things said were way out there and, not necessarily there wasn't a lot of proof behind some of his stuff. So there was a lot of speculation of what was going to be said, what was going to be done. And sometimes people put too much faith into man, going back to the human component. Sometimes people put too much faith in a person, but clearly, Elon came to his senses, realized he was wrong, and this, I think he's doing the right thing by let's squash this, let's continue to move forward in making America great again.
Yeah, and I think everybody, even from the beginning, was like, hey, they just disagree on something. I think they ultimately have the same goal in mind, to make America great again. But, disagreements happen, and thankfully, resolutions also happen.